You can't go wrong with Now It's Dark.
Hey everybody, welcome to Now It's Dark. I'm Jim. Today we're going to talk about a funky movie called Dr. Caligari. I finally watched this movie. It came out in 1989, and this movie is a trip. It is really crazy. So there's a ton of tags it has on IMDb. It's tagged first as a parody, satire, comedy, horror, and sci-fi. And yeah, it hits all those tags. The tagline of the movie itself is "The Mad Doctor is in." And this movie, Dr. Caligari, like, that's a commonly known horror name, Doctor. The first movie was the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, and that was like way back in the early 1900s. And this movie is about the granddaughter of an infamous doctor experiments with hormone and shock therapies at her asylum for the insane. And yeah, this is crazy. I just happened to be looking for kind of just like a movie to watch, not even to do a review, but only a few minutes into this I was like, okay, I gotta start taking notes. So I got out my big trusty note cards, and yeah, this is some other tags I would add to this would be body horror, erotic, thriller, psychedelic. There's definitely some boobies. I watched this on Shudder, by the way, so that's where I was flipping through. I had just for some reason my Shudder subscription had lapsed, and I was like, why can't I watch Joe Bob? So I had to re-up my subscription, and so I just started scrolling through. So this was written and directed by Stephen Sayadian, and also sharing writing credits is Jerry Stahl. And this stars a lot of people. There's definitely a lot of people in this. So there's Dr. Caligari herself, played by Madeleine, Reynal, and there's just so many people that I'll just kind of like leave it to my notes here. There's a lot of tongue-in-cheek, a lot of slapsticky kind of one-liner stuff, mixed in with a lot of adult erotic themes. There is a baseline story to this, but I don't think that it was really ever taking itself very seriously. It's very, very psychedelic. Like, there's no like true buildings, like rooms and things. It's got a very, very 80s aesthetic with triangles and bright colors and very Saved by the Bell look. Pee-wee's Playhouse maybe would be a better analogy, with the way doors are just there, and then there's just psychedelic stuff going on all over the place. Yeah, it's like a real amped up adult Pee-wee's Playhouse. So we get a lot of dry deliveries from the characters. The main first kind of patient that we're introduced to is Miss Van Houten, played by Laura Albert, and she has like some kind of fetishy sex addiction, and Dr. Caligari has a treatment program, and she's tapping into people's hypothalamuses, and she does a thing where she puts a thing that she will insert a needle into and draw out maybe the bad fluid or whatever. It's very, very weird. It's really I don't know, there's just so many comedy moments in it, but they're very dry. I don't know why I liked this movie as much as I did. And like, there's a lot of body, I don't want to even call it horror, but it's technically, I guess it would be under the genre of body horror, but not to like the extreme of the movie Society, but similarly like that. I liked this movie for some reason way more than I liked Society. And I know Society is a beloved body horror film, And again, I acknowledge this doesn't have the body horror to that level where there's twisted people and faces on butts and things like that, but this does have like a lot of that kind of stuff to it. So Dr. Caligari, she is doing her little experiments and things, and she has two doctors under her who are husband and wife, and also the daughter, I think her name was Ramona Lodger, played by Jennifer Balgobin. Her father also worked there, and he was played by David Parry, I think. There's a lot of people in the IMDb cast list without pictures, so I'm kind of at a loss. And I did watch this 2 weeks ago. They're kind of concerned with Dr. Caligari's practices. They kind of want to get her shut down, but she doubles down. She does some stuff to the Dr. Lodger, the father of the other doctor and father-in-law to the other guy, and he goes kind of like, I don't want to say trans, but he's definitely dressed as a female, and so like shockingly vulgar with the incestuous things that he says to his daughter that he wants to do to her and what he wants her to do to him, and just like trying to lick her face. And then the other doctor comes in, her husband, his son-in-law, and then he does the same thing to him, and it's really hilarious. And they're trying now to get the father of the doctor out of that asylum. Meanwhile, we still have the original patient, Mrs. Van Houten, kind of in the background, but also like not wanting to be there. But then she has another weird sexually driven scene with like a big door of skin that has a tongue and an opening, and there's a lot of licking things, and it's just so wild. It's just so really wild. Oh yeah, a lot of implied masturbation, but it's not, it's right there. And I wrote implied carpet munching. Yeah, there's definitely some downtown to Chinatown, or whatever my phrase I used to say. Going downtown to Chinatown. It's the JJ buffet. That's all I'm going to say about that when I referred to that. I don't know why I like this so much better than Society. I guess the humor really worked for me at the particular time I watched this. I definitely don't think this movie's going to be for everybody, but it is very tongue-in-cheek. There's boobs if you wanted to see a movie with some boobs in it, which is kind of what I was looking for at the time. But I don't know, like maybe if you smoke the devil's lettuce, you would do that and then watch this film, and you would get like a whole nother level out of it. At any rate, Dr. Caligari's main plan is she actually has her great-great-grandfather's brain still in this container, and she's gonna like take the brain juice through the hypothalamus, and I know I'm saying that wrong, but then she's going to inject it into herself and become the ultimate Dr. Caligari, the superior Dr. Caligari. Mrs. Van Houten, she ends up thwarting that plan. She gets the brain juice from Granddad, and she becomes like cured, but also like the new in charge person, and the Dr. Caligari, who was trying to run everything, kind of becomes the patient at this point. So it's the lunatics running the asylum at this point. But I don't know, if you got a few minutes, that was really bad grammar, if you have an hour and 20 minutes, this is a fun, just lighthearted watch with some real heavy adult humor and sexual perversion, and it's fun. It's definitely a movie that I could probably watch again. I can't say the same for Society, so I don't know. You can leave the hate comments down below. If you've seen both movies, I would love to read in the comments your take on both movies, and you know, just in general. So this is a 1989 film, and I was a senior in high school, just to put it into perspective of what an old fuck I am. But I did enjoy this, and probably would watch it again. So let me know in the comments down below what you think of Dr. Caligari.